Hi, I'm Tom Eggett from Tom Eggett Photography, and apologies for the echo. I'm currently in a tunnel on the outskirts of Edinburgh. It's a former train track, and this is exactly the spot where I did the shot on the Clockwork Orange theme. I just love the location, but today the reason I'm here is because I'm on alone. I'm with Megan today again, and we were shooting somewhere else, and the wind was just too strong, and decided to find shelter, so that's why we're here. You've seen the title of this video. It's the role of the shutter in flash photography. You remember when I started doing the videos on YouTube, I started with the basics of photography, as it's pretty obvious. And I talked to you about the exposure triangle, and we saw the three factors, which are the ISO, the shutter, and your aperture. And we saw the role of each in standard photography. But guess what? As soon as you start introducing a flash in photography, those three factors will still behave the same, but it will have extra powers. And this is exactly what I want to show you today. And we're going to talk about the shutter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 videos, and I'm actually going to record them today, the 3 videos. But I want to separate them so it's easier for you to go back to one video if you want to know the role of the shutter, if you want to know the role of the ISO and the role of the aperture. But it's going to be very short videos, and I'm going to release the 3 of them in the same week between now and Easter. Simply because afterwards I'm on holiday and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do a video for you. So, shutter. Here the setup. What we have the beautiful Megan. We have the softbox. So this is my Westcott strip softbox that I love. Inside there is a speed light and there is a trigger. And I have a trigger as well on my camera. My flash is set up in manual mode, like we saw in the previous episode. If you don't know what a manual mode is, I invite you to click on the link that appears on your screen right now. And I've already set up the whole thing. So basically the power of my flash is half power at the moment. And for those of you who would be wondering what would be the zoom value of my flash, is actually set to 28. And the reason for that is because I need a pretty broad spectrum of light inside the softbox to diffuse the light and bounce it everywhere inside and go out instead of a narrow beam. So in terms of my settings, exposure settings on my camera, I'm actually at my sync speed, and I'm shooting with a 5D Mark III, which means that it's going to be 1/200th of a second. The aperture is going to be 6.3, and the ISO is going to be 400. So the reason why I'm using 400 is to illustrate something here. I don't have much light. You guys actually see the tunnel here, but in a picture that you will see in a second, you won't. And to illustrate the role of the shutter, I needed to actually bring more light. So that's the reason why it's already set at 400. So let's go and take the first shot with those settings. So what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to take a big wide picture, because I want you guys to pay attention not only to the beautiful Megan, but I want you to look at the tunnel and the ambient light. That's exactly what we get. So 24mm focal length, and here's what you see. With the exception of the light on the ceiling, basically the only light that you see is coming from my flash, so which means that Megan is actually exposed by my flash only. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slow down my shutter speed. And I'm going to really illustrate the effect, I'm going to go as slow as I normally should. And I'm going to go at 1/25th of a second. So bear in mind, I was at 1/200th of a second, and I'm now slowing down to 1/25th of a second. So let's do this. 1/25th, and I'm not changing my aperture, it's still 6.3, and I'm not changing my ISO, it's still 400, and I'm not changing my flash power, which is at half power. And I take the same shot, 24mm focal length. So what you should see now is you can actually see the tunnel. You see the ambient light, but pay attention to the light on Megan's face. And I'm going to zoom in now on the 2 pictures just to show you exactly what you see on Megan's face. You will notice that although we changed the shutter speed, the exposure on Megan's face didn't change. And the reason for it is because it's my flash. My flash is on manual mode and I didn't change the setting. And the exposure remained the same on Megan. However, by changing the shutter speed, I actually brighten up the rest of the scene. So the conclusion of this is The role of the shutter when you do flash photography is about how much ambient light you want in your picture. The slower you go, the more ambient light you will have in your scene. The faster you go, the less ambient light you will have. They will not have any effect on your exposure done by the flash. So I hope you found this informative, and in the next video we're going to talk about the ISO in flash photography. So stay tuned, and until next time, this is Tommy Good saying, if you like it, well, capture it. Bye-bye.